Good evening. It is October 14th, 2014, and we are doing book clubs today. And it will be exciting because we'll be talking about face-to-face book clubs, an example here on Maui, and also virtual book clubs across the country. So let's go across the board and have everyone introduce themselves first, and then I'll call on Jane, who will be talking first. So, Michelle, would you tell us who you are, please?
Hi, I'm Michelle Colt. I'm the librarian at Halikula Elementary School in Hawaii.
Kayla?
Hi, I'm Wandell. I'm the book club president at Baldwin High School.
Jane?
Hey, I'm Jane Lofton. I'm the teacher librarian at Miracosta High School, which is in Manhattan Beach in California.
Neat. So Jane, it's 10 o'clock her time, so we're going to have her go first. We don't know if she'll make it all through the hour, all the way through the hour, which is perfectly fine. Is it a school day tomorrow, Jane?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So we're really happy that you came on to be with us. So very, very much welcome, and thank you very much. So Jane's going to tell us a little bit about the SWVBC, the Somewhat Virtual Book Club that she's a big part of. So take it away, Jane.
Okay. Yes. The Somewhat Virtual Book Club, or the hashtag Somewhat Virtual Book Club on Twitter, started in fall of 2011. Joyce Valenza did a blog posting about wanting to get that she and Shannon Miller were getting their students together for virtual book discussions, and was anyone else interested? So I raised my hand and joined the two of them, and we had initially also Michelle Ludala in New Canaan, Connecticut, and then we started Colette Castellini in Oregon, and we've had some people come and go, but we've had throughout we've had several different schools getting together, usually about once a month, and the time difference is a little bit challenging, but it's worked out for my students, like coming right after school, and the kids back east come in the evening, and so we've been able to coordinate that way. And a big advantage of it is that you don't have to have a big book club for it. I have a club, of about, typically it runs from maybe about 6 students a year who are active. You know, there may be others, but of the ones who come on a regular basis, I'd say usually it's been around 6 students. But by getting the groups together, even if there's only 1 or 2 who show up from a given school on a given occasion, they still have an opportunity to interact with the other students. Most of the clubs also function as live clubs. For example, my club does meet once a week. And actually it started off when I started it when I began working at Miracosta in 2010. And I actually started it as a library support club, not really a book club. And it was really the students who wanted to make the transition to making it a book club. So they're all really busy, so we generally don't do any other books besides the ones we do with our virtual book club about once a month, but we'll sometimes discuss other books. People will make recommendations, and they'll help me with library activities, especially events, author visits, contests, and so on. And then they've really enjoyed, I think, getting together with the other clubs. And one of the big advantages of doing it is not that we have more numbers, but also that it gives the students a chance to have some experience with virtual meetings. Like we're hanging out here now, and obviously we couldn't get together any other way. And I do that all the time. I've just finished my term as on the board of California School Library Association. I was president. and that we couldn't have survived without virtual meetings, board meetings. California is a big state, and we just, back when I started on the board 6 years ago, we had like 3 or 4 live meetings a year. We just can't afford to do that anymore. So we have virtual meetings all the time, and by having a virtual book club, we're giving students a chance to learn what that experience is and kind of what the norms are. That you have to be a little bit more careful about how you communicate. You lose some of the cues that you have in person, and you need to compensate for that. And sometimes there's glitches with technology, which are frustrating, but we learn to overcome them. So it's been a really rewarding experience, and I think I'm probably talking too long. I could...
No, go ahead. Take as long as you want.
Oh, okay. I saw someone else just joined us, though. So
Yes, Kiri Allen is
say
here.
hi.
Oh, hi, Kiri.
Hello.
And I think Holly is trying to join us as well. Hi, Kiri. Could you tell us who you are, please?
Hi, my name is Kiri, and I am Vice President of BHS Book Club.
Okay, great. Welcome. We can't see your eyes. Could you kind of go down a little lower? There you go. Yay. Awesome. Well, welcome. So Jane Lofton, who is to your right on my screen, or to my left. Anyway, Jane Lofton is talking about the virtual book club. So Michaela said that you and she could go second. So we're listening to what Jane has to say and asking questions. But welcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say is we have been very informal, and like we'd have a given meeting, we would decide, talk about when we wanted to meet next and what book we wanted to do. And this year we decided that we wanted to try and get more organized and possibly expand. So we've tried to set up a schedule for the whole year, and we have some open slots for hosts, but we thought that each month we would have a different library host it, and they would be the ones to select. So Michaela said that you and she
somebody's got
and asking questions.
somebody's got their
Thank you.
Yeah.
somebody's got the Hangout in a separate window or something.
We have been very informal, and like we have the given meeting.
It might be you, Holly. I'm going to mute you, Holly.
We wanted to meet next and what book we wanted to do. And this year we decided that we wanted to try and get more organized. And
Nope. Okay, that worked. I just muted Holly. Holly, something going on over there. You're okay. I just muted you. It's all right. Holly Gates just came on. I think she has a separate window open with a lag. You have another window open, Holly. You want to come and tell us who you are, Holly? No?
Oh, I think she's muted, so you can't hear
Okay.
her.
Yeah, I thought I unmuted her, but maybe she muted herself.
There.
There you go, Holly. I can
Hi,
hear
I
you.
was having Mercury in retrograde issues.
Ah, okay. Glad you're here.
Anyway, I'm Holly Gates, Haiku Elementary School in Maui.
Librarian.
Yes, librarian. Sorry,
We're-
important part.
We librarians are surrounding the two girls from Baldwin High. But we're friendly. We're friendly. We're not going to bite.
We don't mind.
Glad to have you. Okay, go ahead and continue, Jane.
okay, so we have set up a schedule to meet once a month, and we have some of the books laid out. And actually, just this week, we discussed All Our Yesterdays by Kristen Terrell, and I contacted Kristen Terrell through Twitter. I just sent her a message and said we're meeting, and we'd be really jazzed if you'd join us, and she did. So
Oh, wow.
that was really exciting, and she spent the whole hour with us. We thought we'd have some questions for her and then have some other discussion, but she stayed with us the whole hour, and we had an hour's worth of questions and discussion with her. And it is recorded and on YouTube. And I guess I could, if you want, I could try and put the link in the chat.
That would be great. We actually have some show notes, Jane, but I don't have it shared with you. Yeah, put it in the chat, and then I'll take care of it.
You know what? I think why don't I do that after I finish talking?
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah.
And I also have some links to our. We've set up a Google Plus community, and we have a Goodreads group and a Facebook page. And part of why I'm telling you all this is because we would love some new members, and it is an informal group, so some of the groups just are able to attend occasionally. Some come every month, but you know, Linda has some students who I believe are going to be joining us in November for, we're going to be discussing We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, and that's going to be on November 5th at, well, it's at 3 p.m. Pacific time, so I guess, what, noon your time, right?
It is noon our time. It's going to be a little weird, so I'm going to have to get those two girls who are the leaders of the our little club out of their classes, I think. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah, so I know the time difference is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, it is.
We would love to have you join us. And
Also,
we're planning to do Better by Erin Jade Lang. And we have dates set up after that. We don't have titles thus far for the year. And the other change that we made this year is that we had been using Blackboard. We tried Skype, we tried Google Hangouts, and we found that both of those, we tried Google Hangouts when it was really new. And it wasn't as stable as we wanted, and it was a bit frustrating. So we went to Blackboard. We had access to a Blackboard account, and that is a very stable platform. But in discussing it with some of the other librarians this year, actually I suggested we really ought to be using a platform that the students can also use themselves. So, you know, like say you girls can get on and set up your own Google Hangout. You probably wouldn't be able to set up Blackboard because you probably wouldn't have access to, you know, an account. So our goal is to give the students the experience of participating, but also we're hoping to move more towards having the students take over the whole process. Like one of my students was the moderator this week, and they haven't taken over setting up the Hangout yet, but that's in the plans for later this year.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. Blackboard, did someone ask what Blackboard is? It's a way of communicating via webinar. I guess that's the way you say it. So there's Skype, there's Google Hangouts, and there's Blackboard, but it's a special system that's set up usually by Department of Education or organizations. It's not something that's accessible to us, the public.
Yeah, it does allow for large groups, and actually one thing that could become an issue with Google Hangouts is only 10 people, at least at the moment, can actually be in the Hangout. So we figure if we grow beyond that, that would be kind of a good problem, and that more people can watch, you know, and could participate in the chat. So, and that amount, I believe, is unlimited. So that's why we decided to go with this platform.
Neat. That's wonderful. Anybody have any questions of Jane?
Yeah, I do. Jane, I was wondering if you have, or if you started with specific questions that you put out there to the students, or if you just kind of let things happen organically? During the discussions, I mean. Did you have specific? Yeah.
We've tried to assemble questions in advance, and we've done things like have a Google Doc that everyone could contribute questions, and that's worked to a certain extent. This year, what we thought we would try is make it the responsibility of the host group to come up with the questions. So I did brainstorming, at one of the weekly meetings that I have with my book club live to come up with questions. And then I also asked the other participating clubs if they had any input. But most of the questions this month came from our group, and I'm assuming that's the way it will continue. And then, of course, there's always questions on the fly, but we do try to make sure that we have a good list of questions prepared, because otherwise, the conversation can tend to kind of, lose momentum at times, I guess.
And do you find that the same students are frequently participating, or do they kind of come and go depending on the book title?
Question.
It's pretty much the same students. I have tried to publicize it, like, for example, we did Fault in Our Stars in September. So that's a book that lots of students, of course, would have read. So I was hoping that we might have students from our school who aren't regular members of the club. To be perfectly honest, that didn't happen. So it is the same students. It was interesting that they didn't tell me in advance about half the members of my club did not like the book.
Ooh. That's tough. That's really tough.
And most of the other clubs, the members of the other clubs, by surprise, because from all over the country, South Carolina, Connecticut, Oregon, New Jersey, there were students who loved that book, and here I had my students who didn't like it.
It happens.
And actually, it was a bit of a learning experience in how you really have to be careful how you express yourself, especially in a remote meeting, a virtual meeting, because you do lose some of the cues, and you need to be, I think, more polite than ever.
Interesting.
And some of them learned a bit about that in the course of that meeting. Did we just lose someone, or did they?
We lost Michaela, but then she came back. Did you know that, Michaela, that we lost you for a second?
Yeah, it came up that I had a bad connection and it lost.
Yeah,
I don't know. It came
You're back
though, so.
Michelle, yeah, that I was going to say.
Michelle went down and she's back. Okay. We got a little bit of technical things going on. We'll be good. Okay, any other questions?
Glad to be back. I had a question.
Go ahead.
How does your club choose the books that you're going to read?
It's a mixture of ways. Like, for example, the All Our Yesterdays was a book that I listened to. Actually, was available through Sync Audio over the summer, and I liked it. I was so taken with it that as soon as I got done, I listened to it straight through again, and so I recommended it. Sometimes students recommend it. We've sometimes done votes. Those are difficult because when everyone has a different opinion, so it's kind of a consensus, kind of who does the best job of marketing, I think, though, usually is the way it works. I'd love to come up with maybe some better methods, but I'm not sure what they are. So if you have any suggestions, please tell me. I'd love to know how you pick your books.
Oh, we're trying to find a good way to pick our books. We usually vote, but sometimes that ends up a little odd.
Any other questions of Jane?
Actually, the question that she just asked kind of made me think of something, too, from the librarian perspective. Like The Fault in Our Stars is kind of well, I guess not so recent, but maybe some of the books are recent titles. I'm just wondering if do you like scurry out and purchase multiple copies so you have enough for interested participants, or do sometimes the students go to public libraries to get them, or what's your process as librarian and having it in your collection?
I have scurried and bought multiple copies.
Okay.
And that's why actually it's nice if it's in paperback. You know,
Yes.
I was pleased that all our yesterdays had just come out in paperback.
Okay.
We Were Liars hasn't yet, so I had to. I already had one copy of all our We Were Liars that I got from Junior Library Guild, and I just ordered 5 more.
Okay.
And I don't have a big budget, but I have enough that I feel that I can justify making multiple purchases of, you know, a few books a year, because that way, if I book talk, you know, I can hopefully find other uses for them afterwards. You know, if I book talk them to classes, and
Right.
It's nice to have some books that you have, you know, a nice group of copies of.
Mm-hmm.
But I have asked the students if they wouldn't mind buying their own copies, and the answer is usually no, would you please get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I scurry as well. I think it's worth it just by itself to have that multiple copies. Worth the extra expense.
I agree. I've done that too. And then sometimes what's happened is that teachers have seen how the kids like. We're doing books for our state award list at the elementary school. And so I've bought multiple copies of different titles. Sometimes teachers will say, "Can I borrow that set of books?" And then they'll do a lit circle discussion, you know, using those books. So I totally understand what you folks are saying. I just wondered if, you know, you kind of plan so far in advance that you're able to have books added in. I have to admit, I don't keep up with my cataloging, though. I'm just more handing out paperback copies to the kids.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one. I always say, okay, this is not cataloged yet, but treat it well and bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Okay. Okay, Michaela and Kiri. I don't know how you're going to divvy up the description and sharing, but the floor is yours. Oh, should I introduce you?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm Michaela, and I'm book club president, and that's Kiri there, and she's vice president. We both
Yes.
started out as the original council members for the club. It was actually our friend's senior project that started the book club on our campus. It was all about, her senior project was all about making reading more popular, and that reading about good female heroes in books helped girls grow up to think that they could do more. And so she started the book club, and it started our sophomore year, and it's just been student run, because since it was her senior project and that was how she was doing her activity hours, our club has been pretty solely ran by students, and we've kind of just been trying to figure out things as we go. So as far as books go, we like to do a poll, and our council will come up with a list of books we think are like interesting and that kids will want to read, and then we have them vote on it. Sometimes it doesn't always go all that well. We unfortunately had American Psycho voted as one of our book club books.
Oh God.
It was pretty bad, but it was okay because we kind of learned a little more from that. Kiri does a really good job at our discussions and the activities and coming up with events like that, so pass that to Kiri to talk about.
Okay, so usually we come up with, once we read it, we come up with discussion questions, like what we thought maybe was interesting, or if there was a point in it that we wanted to point out, if everyone else like also had questions about it, and then usually we try to tie in some kind of activity into the book to, like, I don't know, kind of get them involved, and then I guess it kind of brings the book more into your life, and we try to like make like connections to our lives with the book. And
When do you meet? When do you meet?
We meet once every 2 weeks. We meet and we do the activities because we notice maybe high schoolers don't necessarily want to sit down and talk the whole time, and we have a wider range of people involved in book club if we did more activities. So like when we did Divergent as our first book club book, at the end we had a party where we were able to have like students go around doing scavenger hunts where they had to act out the different factions to really like, get involved, and we did like a faction choosing ceremony where you like got a piece of blood and put it in whatever faction you felt like. So we kind of had people wandering around, and we've been debating the idea of doing the Hunger Games paintball at the paintball center on Island when the next Hunger Games movie comes out, just so we could have more student involvement to make them like feel more excited about reading and getting involved in books, because you know we want more people to be involved and want to read and discuss about it.
That is fantastic. So creative. That is awesome. And there's no reward other than reading, right? And having fun.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I'm jealous.
I'm really impressed that you
we
folks
have to read, I think.
that you do books every 2 weeks, you said?
Oh, well, it's
no,
we do one book for 2 to 4 meetings because
okay.
a lot of the time people don't want to read, or they're like, oh, I don't have that much time. So if we space out how much they have to read in between meetings, they're more likely to read it and be involved.
I was wondering if you've had any faculty interest that teachers have ever joined you, or is this really your rules are no, it's more for the students, or?
Well, I wouldn't say it's more for the students, just no teachers have really ever asked. I mean, our advisor is a teacher and she contributes, but no teachers have really joined in.
Okay.
Actually, one time, our last meeting, the vice principal got in. So.
You take pictures and document it? I'm just curious.
Yeah, we have historians that take pictures, and then usually at the end of the year we make a scrapbook with all the like our activities and just meetings together, and like our community service projects.
That's awesome.
And do you have an online like web page or Tumblr page or something that kind of advertises upcoming things or shows the photos or the history?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page that we have all our group members on, and then we post stuff about meetings and books and all that stuff. A lot of times we just post stuff around campus, though. That usually gets to them.
We tried flyers once.
Yeah,
and
that's
do you folks find too that it's the same people who usually come, or does it kind of depend on the book?
No, we usually have like a group of like 15 members that come.
15?
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm so jealous. I have to say that again. I'm very jealous. That is awesome. In a good way.
The freshmen this year seem to be very excited about reading.
I'm not jealous in a bad way. I'm jealous in a good way. That is awesome. So, Michaela, Kiri, are you a junior or senior? Or
no, I'm a senior. Yeah, we're
senior. So who's going to take over when you both graduate? Is there somebody in line?
Well, 3 of our other council members are all juniors, so hopefully they'll take the reins.
Nice.
We like to have a variety of the different grade levels in the council so that there's always someone who knows what to do when the seniors graduate.
So well.
Kiri's sister was actually on the council before she was. So Kiri is a legacy there.
Yeah, kind of. Good.
So what's your next book?
We're currently reading
or what is your current
Maze
book?
Runner. Yeah, we just started reading The Maze Runner.
I can't keep enough copies of that book in our library. Yeah.
As far as book ordering go, I know
Usually
she was talking about that earlier. Our librarians don't feel they're necessarily able to buy as many copies as they can for our library when we choose different books. So, I mean, there's always a few copies available in the library, like 1 or 2, because we choose more popular books. And then we use our advisor's teacher discount at Barnes& Nobles to try and find the lowest possible price for people to purchase books if they want to. And then we usually share, like 1 or 3 people will probably buy a book, and then we'll like share copies and pass it around. So it works out that way.
Fantastic. I just love that it's totally student run. Yeah.
Well, our advisor definitely steps in when we aren't able.
Steps in when that. Sorry, I missed that. What'd you say? What'd you say,
Our
Michaela?
advisor steps in. Our
When you're being
advisor is
bad?
able to step in to lead us if we're not necessarily doing what she thinks is the best organized way to do it. So it's really helpful to have a good advisor just leading us. Kind of like what Jan was talking about, how she has her students like lead the hangout sometimes. That's definitely what our advisor does, except she gives us a little more power.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Wow. Any other any questions of Michaela and Kiri?
Did you say that it originally started with the purpose of encouraging girls to read?
Oh, no, it started as our friend's senior project activity. So her senior project focused on making students read more because she felt that her reading as a child and when she read about a female hero that she was able to relate and believe in herself more, and so she did her paper on that. And a part of her activity to kind of promote reading was to start a book club. It wasn't necessarily about girls, although our club is a lot of girls, we've noticed, and very rare males.
So, and did she that first year try to choose books that had strong female characters, or not necessarily?
I think more of her research paper focused on that, and not necessarily our books. Although we did read Divergent, and of course Tris is a very strong female heroine.
Right.
Neat. Any other questions?
I was wondering, is your Facebook open, or do you have any forum where you write about your activities, like share your successes? I'd love to read them, about, your activities.
We have a website, but we don't necessarily keep it that up to date. We've been trying to though, so we'll post the link there, and hopefully that will encourage us to keep it updated.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Well, actually, when I think about it, Michaela and Kiri, you're doing pretty pioneering stuff in the way of book clubs. Just listening to you is pretty creative and unusual. I don't know if you realize how unusual and cool it is. So like Jane says, it would be neat if you could share it with other people, and so we can revel in the same, in what you're doing, and then maybe you could actually be influential in spreading the word and giving other people their own ideas about how they would do a book club. It's just astounding to me that you have created this little community all by yourself without much help from adults. I think it's really superb.
I have a question.
Yes, Holly, go.
I was wondering if the books that you choose, if you're able to use them for another subject, or if the book and something in your curriculum ever overlap?
Our English department actually told us they'd rather us not choose like our summer reading books and things like that for our book club books. So we we have more fun readings, but our advisor does make us choose a classic book once a year. So we do try to do like some more deeper literature per se, or more classic literature to have
Right.
our book lovers read, but we generally don't overlap it with other subjects. It's kind of more just a recreational. We try to make it fun and not have students think that it has to do with like school and work.
Oh, good. That's great.
How about you, Michelle? Do you have a book club in your school at all?
Yeah, we do. So every month, or sometimes multiple times a month, I have the kids join me for a discussion on one of the Nene hopefuls. So the Nene Award is our state award for literature, as chosen by students in grades 4, 5, and 6. So I purchase books at my book fair, and then I share them with the classes, and I have them in the library also for students to borrow. And if they want to join me at the discussions, they need to post on the Nene blog that we have on our school library website. And I usually get anywhere between 2 and 25 students at the discussion. And they bring their lunch, and we talk about the book. And then I always have some sort of treat that is that goes along with the book. So, like one time, in the story Eggs by Jerry Spinelli, the two main characters go digging for night crawlers at night. So I brought them, gummy worms inside the cake. And then another time, like for Lemonade War, they had lemon heads, just silly little treats like that. But the kids think it's amazing. And usually I have a few questions for them, but I'm so impressed with the questions that the observations that my elementary students come up with. It's pretty impressive. I think it even rivals some of the gifted and talented discussions I used to have with my high school students. So it's pretty neat what the kids come up with.
That's really neat. Well, we lost Michaela, but she's back, I think. Are you back, Michaela? Maybe, maybe not. Well, I guess I should mention our, we have actually 2 little book clubs at our school. I am coordinator of the middle school book club. It's a little lunch club. We do have snacks. In fact, one of the kids said, this should be cookie club instead of book club. So that kind of gives you an idea of, we have fun with it. It's mainly a book lovers club. We have I discovered last year that it is like Michaela and Jane said, it's tough to decide what book you're going to read. But we did hit on a winner this last time. It was called, gosh, it's like I can't remember the title, but it was great. Oh, it was The Unwanteds, which is a cross between supposedly Hunger Games and Harry Potter. And they latched on to that, and that was very successful. But previous to that, didn't like the book, couldn't get through it, that sort of thing. So very low-key, and we meet about once a month, 1 month to pick, and then another month to actually discuss. And very short, like 20 minutes or so. And we have we got to the point where we have a couple of formal questions. But because it's actually a group of 7th graders who really love to read. And so, yeah, it's a book lovers club. And then the other club is our upper school club, which is the one that's going to join you, Jane, we hope, in November. And that is a small club that actually our English teacher helps out with, and they go to her for that. And their last book was Miss Peregrine's, what is it? School for Unfortunate Children.
For Peculiar Children.
For Peculiar Children, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So that's a small group that's tight, and they have snacks, but probably not as much of snacks as we do at middle school. But I think it's great to have fun and have these little activities, just to have that memory of reading, and you know, it's okay to have gummy worms and all of that. I don't think I feel like apologizing, but I don't. And on the other hand, I don't. I think it's great to build those memories around comfort and what it feels like reading books, and to know that you know, other people don't always feel the way as you do, like in Fault in Our Stars. Yeah. So yeah, it's a lesson no matter what you do in your book club. So I'm really thrilled that, you know, you guys are carrying on the tradition. It's really amazing and good. Okay. Any other thoughts? Holly, do you have a book club at your elementary school? Holly?
No, I don't. I just have the book buddies, which are fourth and fifth graders that primarily fourth and fifth graders that come in and help out, but it's not a book club. I do have them read because we have accelerated reader, so they have to take tests on books. So I do recommend different books, like different genres for them to do. Like, make sure you do a classic, and make sure, you know, do a biography, things like that. But it's not really a book club.
Neat. There's also something called Reading Without Borders. Are you familiar with that, Michelle and Jane? Annabelle Howard put together a Google Plus community. And actually, Michaela and Kiri, you might be interested in this, maybe Holly as well. But you can go on there and read to someone else somewhere else in the world. So you could, if you can devote maybe 20 minutes to read to someone, or have someone read to you. It's kind of like, well, you actually could make up the rules about it, you know, if you wanted to have a classroom situation or just be available to read to someone who might want to listen to you. So that's kind of cool. A book club that's without borders, meaning, I guess, meaning without national borders, but also you can kind of pick the kind of program that you want to offer people. So that's kind of neat. It's called Reading Without Borders. I'll put that in the show notes. By the way, we do have show notes like usual, and the link to that is bit.ly, bit.ly. It's on my lower third there, GRH52 notes. And so that will have the links that Jane mentioned. And if, I don't know, Michaela and Kiri, did you ever tell Jane if that Facebook page was private or public? Is it private? Facebook page?
Oh, we have a website that I'll send to you.
Okay, that'd be great. We'll put it in the show notes as well. Neat. We have two of Kiri on here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't know what happened.
Now we have one. Yeah, the connection today. We are, by the way, expecting a big storm. Yeah?
Oh, yeah, the hurricane.
Anna. Yeah. So I don't know if that has anything to... And the weather is very heavy, so I'm not sure if that's why the connection might be. But it should be okay, Jane. We'll be fine. Don't worry.
The storm's supposed to be coming.
Sorry?
How soon is the storm due?
Tomorrow.
Mm.
Tomorrow. But it's very still where I am anyway. Very still and heavy. And the clouds are over, so we'll see what happens. Yeah. Okay. Any other words of wisdom from everyone? Anyone? No words of wisdom? Okay.
Just keep on reading, right?
Yes. Well, I don't think this group needs to be reminded of that.
That's true.
Yeah. This was a pleasure to have this particular show. I really have been looking forward to it. So I know a lot of people were interested, some of them on the continent, and they're sleeping right now as we speak. So I'm assuming that they will pick up on the recording, we hope, and be inspired by both of you to do their own book club or to latch on. Jane, maybe they'll latch on to yours like we are. We're going to try to latch on to the somewhat virtual book club.
And
Yeah.
we'd
So,
like to have anyone who's interested. Thanks for giving me the chance to share about it, and I'm honored to be invited on your show.
oh, thank you. We just love when guests from out of state come in. Yeah. And it's like almost 10, 11 o'clock for you. So, yeah, much appreciated. Anything, any parting words, Kiri and Michaela? This is your 15 and a half minutes of fame, no? No pressure on
Well,
you. But,
thank you for having us.
oh,
It's nice to
Yes.
see what other book clubs are doing, and it helps us to understand where we should be going with ours.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, and as I said before, I just really love that this legacy of book clubs is going on. The conversations, Goodreads is available, but there's nothing like being either face-to-face or face-to-face via Hangouts. So I think it really adds to it. Oh, I have a question to throw in the mix since we have a couple minutes. What about ebooks in the mix? Any thoughts on that? Jane, do you do ebooks?
I have some ebooks, but most of what I have are nonfiction, for primarily for students doing research. The first ones I got were literature or, for recreational reading, and they haven't so far at my school been very popular yet. For whatever reason, I do see some students reading on Kindles or iPads, but by and large, it seems that for pleasure reading, they seem to mostly prefer the print so far. What about you girls? What's your preference?
I personally like print. I have a Kindle, but I don't know. There's nothing like holding a book, feeling the pages.
I like the pages, but sometimes it's cheaper and you can get books for free on your Kindle, and so
Yeah.
it makes it more accessible. But it's so nice having the book there. My Beowulf for class right now is all marked up. I like holding it and then taking my notes, and I love it that way.
Exactly.
I do that myself. I like to sniff books. I have a confession. I'll do that in the middle of a book. So much fun. I think it's a more complete experience for sure. The tactile, the memory, the memory of it is much richer. But I'm old, so it's good to know that younger people feel that way. But definitely, feel that print is good. But definitely for traveling, that seems to be the consensus that for traveling, Kindles or e-readers or e-books are best for convenience. So I have to agree with that one. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for coming on. It was really fabulous, and we got it to work. It's with Hangouts is always not 100% to know if it's going to work, and glad that Kiri got to come on as well. We didn't expect an extra guest. Yay! Thanks so much
for having.
Oh, sure. Maybe there'll be another opportunity to come on. We'll see. Awesome. So I guess if there's nothing more that anyone's thinking about, we'll just say aloha for today. Okay, and we'll see you next week. We're going to be talking about project-based learning next week with Mark Hines of Mid-Pacific, right? Mid-Pac. So that will be another interesting show as well. So thanks, everyone, and we're going to be off the air. So aloha. Take care.
Aloha.